So, have you seen your best days in kayaking, do you think? Or, being in your 30s now, you're so old now in your 30s. But in this sport, and to be at the level that you're at, I would imagine when you get to be in your 30s, that starts to change things. Does it or does it not?
The most difficult thing for me is to stay motivated. I mean, physically, I'm in as good shape or better shape than I've ever been in. All of my training I do, I could always quantify it. So I know I'm actually getting stronger. I'm not getting weaker. But at the end of the day, if I don't have a goal, I don't have the tool that I need to motivate myself to train. And when I got into the sport, it was pushing the sport. Running the biggest waterfalls, running the most technical, difficult white water that had ever been done.
That's how you got all the attention.
That's how I got all the attention, but it's also what I thrived on.
Mm-hmm. I
love knowing that if I wasn't perfect, I was dead. And so it forced me to be perfect. Once I felt like I just couldn't, I was getting tired of it. I've been doing that for years and years. I needed a new challenge. And my critics were saying, well, Tao's good at extreme kayaking. For years they've been saying I was going to die. I wouldn't live through the year. And what they really meant is that they would die if they tried it. I proved them wrong year after year. So finally they said, well, he's not good at freestyle kayaking. Freestyle kayaking is where you get into a playboat and do tricks on a river wave, like a surfer would do on an ocean wave. And what my critics didn't realize is that they were probably my single greatest motivator. So I thought, all right, I'll get into freestyle kayaking and I'll beat all of you at your own game. And so I got into freestyle kayaking and just immersed myself in it. I moved so I could train year round. To Eugene, Oregon, actually, where there's really good training.
Oh, really?
And my goal was to win some of the biggest events in the world. And I failed a couple times, but that's what I really use as motivation to train even harder so that next time I would win. So I finally made the U.S. freestyle team, placed 7th in the world, and then everybody said, well, great job, Tao, but my goal was number 1. 7 meant I was the 6th loser, so to speak. So I kept training, went back at it, and then I won the Asian Cup, Japanese Open, and the Pre-World Championships, which meant I was the best freestyle kayaker in the world. And at that point, I'd accomplished that goal, and I'm standing on the podium, and the national anthem's playing, and I'm thinking, wow, I just spent the last 3 years of my life training for this one moment. I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow. I couldn't just get back in my boat, not without having some type of goal. So actually, right then and there, I was like, I'm going to get into extreme kayaking. I'm sorry, into extreme racing.
Okay.
With the objective.
I was going to say, so,
you're going back to what you were doing?
Taking 98.4 foot drops is an extreme. Okay. All right.
Right. Well, okay, maybe so. But so I got into extreme racing and also back into extreme kayaking. That's when I did Lacey Falls, which is like a 300-foot sliding waterfall into literally 3 feet of water at the bottom. And with the extreme racing, my goal was to have an undefeated season in the United States. In the last 4 years, I've won over 80% of my races. I had an undefeated season, so I've accomplished that goal. So,
did you have any critics helping motivate you as far as saying, oh, he can't do it or he won't do that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Did you have anybody lighting that fire?
At that point...
Or you did that just for you?
Yeah, at that point, I didn't have... I think that at that point, paddlers realized that it would be easier just to criticize me for being me than to say I couldn't do something in my boat, because... I mean, there's a lot of good paddlers. I'm one of them, and if I put my mind to it, I should probably be successful. But there's a long way to answer your question in any event, coming full circle. So in any event, it was such a long-winded answer, I can't even quite remember the question.
Well, I was talking about your critics, and with the, I think you called it freestyle racing?
Extreme racing.
Extreme racing. Did you have critics that were saying you couldn't do it, and was that a motivator like it was when you went into freestyle boating? Right.
So for the extreme racing, no, it wasn't a motivator. I mean, to me, extreme racing was right up my alley. I mean, I knew you're racing through class 5. Fastest man down wins. It's not subjective like freestyle, where sometimes you feel that you were dealt a poor hand by the judges. If you're fastest, you're going to win a race. And that was terrific. And after having, oh right, I remember your question. And after having an undefeated season and accomplished what I want in the extreme end of things, extreme racing that is, I thought, well, what's my next challenge? You're right. I'm in my 30s now. The question is, can I keep going? Physically, I certainly can. The question is whether I could continue to find new goals to set to continue to motivate myself. So my latest goal is to surf the biggest wave that's ever been surfed in the world in a surf kayak. And that's what's motivated me today. Once I accomplish that goal, which should be next fall, if I don't have something new to motivate myself, even though I'm, physically in as good a shape as I've ever been, I'll be done.
It sounds like, I mean, the way that you're explaining it sounds similar to the way that people explain like an addiction. Are you addicted to like success, like accomplishment and making a mark in whatever it is that you're doing? Because I think that's incredible. Do you think that is?
Addicted to success. Well, I think that sure would beat the alternative.
Well, yes, I think it would. But do you think that actually is like that process of sort of conquering is what really at the core drives you?
Yeah, I would probably say so.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I figure what's the point of doing something if you're not going to be the best you can be?
Right.
And I have enough confidence that if I'm going to put my mind to it, second best just isn't good enough.
Why, if I can be good, why not be better?
That's right. I mean, if I'm gonna put some of my energy into it, why don't I put all of my energy into it and see just how good I can get?
Interesting. Well, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the future, including this new goal that you have and some of the stuff that's happening in your personal life. So, be right back.
Still to come.
If I were to get thrown by a wave, say 40 feet tall, and land out in front of the wave flat, I mean, it could shatter my back so easily. Or break a bunch of ribs and then hold me down for 2 minutes with the wind knocked out of me.